أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الحمد لله تبارك وتعالى نحمده ونستعين به ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. وبعد فإن أصدق الحديث كلام الله تعالى وخير الهدي هدي محمد عليه الصلاة والسلام وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. وما قل ودل خير مما كثر وألهى وقليل يغنيك خير من كثير يطغيك وإنما توعدون لآت وما أنتم بمعجزين. Just before I start my halaqah, inshallah, I would like to ask, today is Friday, we have two Jum'ah, two khutbahs. First one is at 1:15, second one at 2. Who attended the second one at 2? Like only 3 people, 4 people. Okay, so it means because I didn't give the first khutbah and they have some important information about the month of Rajab, and I would like to summarize what I've mentioned today in the khutbah, inshallah, for you. Only 4 people out of the audience just attended. Inshallah, we will continue with the rest of the halaqah about the sacred month, Al-Ashhur al-Hurum, and the month of Rajab that started last Wednesday, inshallah ta'ala. Because we want to know what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us, right? How to please Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have some blessed nights and some blessed days during the year, some blessed month. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam usually tells us about them in the Quran and the Sunnah to get closer to Him easier. Like if you do a little bit of righteous deeds, you can get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala very fast during these days. And I have ayah in Surah At-Tawbah, which is Surah number 9. Ayah is number 36. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ عِدَّةَ الشُّهُورِ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ 12 شهرا في كتاب الله يوم خلق السماوات والأرض منها 4 حرم. And the first thing that I wanted to say in my khutbah today, and I would like to summarize now, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, indeed the number of months with Allah is 12 lunar months in the register of Allah from the day He created the heavens and the earth, subhanahu wa ta'ala. So here Imam al-Qurtubi and other scholars said this ayah is an evidence that Muslims have to use the lunar month regarding anything that relates to any kind of worship or any Muslim celebration. It doesn't mean that it's haram to use the other calendar. No, it's not haram, it's okay for any worldly affairs, but for any religious affairs, like for example like Ramadan, starting of Ramadan, and Eid that we have, and the iddah of Muslim women, and paying zakah, for example. So I should, for example, count or calculate my zakah and pay it in the beginning of Ramadan, the middle of Sha'ban, the end of Rajab, whatever else. So I have to calculate it and count everything according to the lunar months that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala named in the Quran and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam named in his Sunnah. That's one thing, because this lunar calendar is something that Sayyidina Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu started. And he made the beginning of the lunar calendar when the Prophet ﷺ migrated from Mecca to Al-Madinah in the 12th of Rabi' al-Awwal sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, right? So it's something that uniquely for Muslims, that's why we should use it. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, مِنْهَا أَرْبَعَةٌ حُرُمْ ذَلِكَ الدِّينُ الْقَيِّمْ فَلَا تَظْلِمُوا فِيهِنَّ أَنفُسَكُمْ. He said 4 of these 12 months are sacred, so do not wrong yourselves during them. To wrong myself and to commit sins is forbidden during the whole year. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned this in these 4 months specifically because the punishment in these 4 months of any sin that we commit is doubled, is multiplied. And at the same time, our rewards are also multiplied by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the beauty of this month of Rajab. That whatever good deeds you do in these months, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will multiply the reward for you. Like for example, downstairs we have the brothers, they want to build a masjid for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Musjah. If you go and you donate for this generously, you will be rewarded twice. It will be doubled for you because of this sacred month. قال الله فلا تظلموا فيهن أنفسكم. And al-zulm ya jama'ah is not one kind. Zulm we have minor dhulm and we have major dhulm. The minor dhulm is to commit any sin. To commit any sin. It's minor dhulm. Doesn't take you out of Islam. But the second kind of dhulm which takes us out of the fold of Islam, it is the major sin. And these two words are mentioned in the Quran with these two uses. And the Sahaba of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, one time a Nabi recited an ayah and they misunderstood it. The ayah was talking about the minor dhulm. And the ayah was talking about the major dhulm, which is shirk. And the Sahaba thought that this ayah is talking about the minor dhulm. That's why they were very scared. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَلَمْ يَلْبِسُوا إِيمَانَهُمْ بِظُلْمٍ أُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمُ الْأَمْنُ وَهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ Surah Al-An'am. He's describing the true believers. He said they have believed and they don't involve dhulm with their iman. They will be saved from the fire and they are rightly guided. So the Sahaba came to Nabi Asram and they thought that the word dhulm here means to commit sins. They said, Ya Rasulullah, وَأَيُّنَا لَمْ يَظْلِمْ نَفْسَهُ All of us are sinners. Everybody commits sins. So this ayah is saying if we have dhulm, which we understood as committing sins, it means we're not rightly guided and we're not saved from the hellfire. Then Nabi ﷺ said, أَلَمْ تَقْرَأُوا قَوْلَ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى عَلَى لسان لقمان يَا بُنَيَّ لَا تُشْرِكْ بِاللَّهِ إِنَّ الشِّرْكَ لَظُلْمٌ عَظِيمٌ. When Luqman ﷺ was describing shirk to his son, he said shirk is a great major dhulm. So the word dhulm here, it means shirk. So I can still be a Muslim, alhamdulillah, rightly guided and go to Jannah inshallah ta'ala while I commit sins. Because I am a human being. Just the fact that I repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will forgive me. Everybody is a sinner. So dhulm, like for example, also kufr. Nabi ﷺ said about someone who doesn't pray is a kafir. The word kafir here doesn't mean kufr that takes you out of the fold of Islam. He is still a Muslim because he says, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Nobody can take him out of Islam because of a sin, except if he commits shirk. The shirk here in this hadith about who doesn't pray is only minor shirk, which is kufran al-ni'am, that you deny that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator and He deserves to be prayed to, But if somebody denies the prayer itself, he said, prayer is not obligatory on me. So it means he denied something which is a major shirk. But minor shirk, he is lazy, he is very busy, he couldn't pray today. Also shirk, two kinds. Kufr is two kinds. Dhulm is two kinds. Nifaq is two kinds. So important to understand these things. Otherwise, we can just label people very easily as kuffar and mushrikeen and zalimin and whatever else. Okay? So dhulm is two kinds. And the third kind of dhulm is to be unjust towards others. Towards your brothers and sisters, towards your spouse, towards your parents. All of this is forbidden in Islam, but during this month of Rajab, the punishment is multiplied. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَلَا تَظْلِمُوا فِيهِنَّ أَنفُسَكُمْ ظُلْمٍ. Here is haram. It's haram the whole year, but He mentioned them here to tell you that it's more haram. As for example, when Allah talked about Hajj, what He says? He says, الْحَجُّ أَشْهُرٌ مَعْلُومَاتٌ فَمَنْ فَرَضَ فِيهِنَّ الْحَجَّ فَلَا رَفَثَ وَلَا فُسُوقَ وَلَا جِدَالَ فِي الْحَجِّ. Hajj is during well-known months. So whoever has made Hajj obligatory upon himself by entering the state of Ihram, he's going to make Hajj this year, for example. He says, فَلَا رَفَثَ وَلَا فُسُوقَ وَلَا جِدَالَ فِي الْحَجِّ. Actually, this is the first point of what I'm going to mention this night. What I've mentioned from the beginning till now is what I said in the khutbah today. Briefly. But now I'm starting my halaqah. So please focus even if you attended the khutbah today. He says, فَلَا رَفَثَ وَلَا فُسُوقَ وَلَا جِدَالَ فِي الْحَجِّ. There is no rafath allowed, or fusuq allowed, or jidal allowed during Hajj. Rafath means one of two things. Number one is to have your intimate relation with your wife. It's a halal everywhere and every day with some conditions that everybody knows of. But during Hajj, it's allowed to have your intimate relation in the state of Ihram, of course. The second meaning of rafath is the bad words, to utter any lewd word, to say something bad to somebody. It's called rafath. And this is haram during the whole year, But why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned this in Hajj? Because if you commit this in Hajj, the punishment will be multiplied. وَلَا فُسُوق. Fusuq, disobedience towards Allah. Disobedience towards Allah is always haram. But He mentioned them in Hajj, specifically to tell you during Hajj it's haram. So what we can understand here from this ayah, and the ayah that talks about the sacred month, and the ayah that talks about Hajj here, that punishment and reward differ from a person to another person, from a place to another place, from a time to another time, from circumstances to another circumstances, to other circumstances. Where can we find this in Islam? Listen to this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He spoke to the wives of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, He told them that if you do one righteous deed, I will double the reward for you. And if you commit one sin, it will be doubled for you. You will be punished twice. يا نساء النبي من يأتي منكن بفاحشة مبينة يضاعف لها العذاب ضعفين. Any clear immorality that you might commit, your reward will be doubled. وكان ذلك على الله يسيرا. And it's very easy for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to double the reward for anybody. It's up to Him. And on the other side, وَمَنْ يَقْنُتْ مِنْكُنَّ لِلَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ وَتَعْمَلْ صَالِحًا نُؤْتِيهَا أَجْرَهَا مَرَّتَيْنِ. If you have submission in your heart to Allah and you do righteous deeds, you will be given the reward also twice. Because of what? Because those women radiallahu anhum, the wives of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, are our mothers, and they live with the Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and they witness the revelation. And they take the knowledge and the guidance pure from the mouth of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Just from Allah to Jibreel, Jibreel to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to his wives. The first person who received the guidance from Rasulullah immediately is the wife. And that's why the reward is multiplied and the sin is also doubled and the punishment is doubled. And this is the first thing. Punishment and reward differs from a person to another person. Number two, from circumstances to another circumstances. Or to other circumstances. Where can we find this in Islam? Reported by Imam al-Hakim. Imam al-Hakim, he has a book that is called Al-Mustadrak. You know, what are the most authentic two books of hadith? What and what? Sahih what and Sahih what? Al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. Sahih al-Bukhari and Muslim, they didn't collect all the sound ahadith. They have left some of them, but they have collected what they could. There's a scholar who came after them, his name is Al-Hakim, collected the rest of the ahadith that has the same authenticity of Al-Bukhari and Muslim, but they are not Al-Bukhari and Muslim, but they're authentic like the same Al-Bukhari and Muslim. His name is Al-Hakim, and his book is Al-Mustadrak. One of these ahadith he reported through Sayyidina Abi Hurairah radiallahu anhu أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال. This hadith is so beautiful, please just pay attention. قال صلى الله عليه وسلم سبق درهم 100,000 درهم. Beautiful. He said, we have two people. Both of them gave charity for Allah's sake. One of them gave only $1 dirham, $1 for Allah's sake. The other gave 100,000. But the $1 is better in the sight of Allah than the $100,000. How can I understand this? The Sahaba asked the Nabi alayhi sallam, يعني كيف يسبق درهم 100,000 درهم? Explain ya Rasulullah. فقال صلى الله عليه وسلم رجل له درهمان فأخذ أحدهما فتصدق به. Said, a man who has only 2 dirhams, only $2, and he took what? 1 dirham, it means he gave half of his wealth for Allah's sake. His wealth is only 2 dirhams, $10. He gave 5 for Allah's sake. And the other آخر له مال كثير فأخذ من عرضها 100,000. اللي حصل يعني. And the other man who is very wealthy, has a lot of money, lots of dollars everywhere, many bank accounts, and he gave just 100,000. So for him it's just like 1%, 2%, 3%. So that person who paid 50% is much better, right? In Allah's sight. And that's what he meant by 1 dirham is better than 100,000 dirhams. So here the reward is different from one person to another person, from one circumstance or from some circumstances to other circumstances, right? The third thing, according to places, also the reward is different and the punishment is different from place to another place. We live in Canada today. Alhamdulillah, safe country, every educational system perfect, health, insurance perfect, alhamdulillah. But we still, as Muslims, have some temptations around us that we think it's haram. Like we think it's haram to eat pork, for example. It's haram to eat wine. Like alcohol is almost in everything that we eat, right? We think that it's haram to look at somebody who is not properly covered, right? From religious perspective, we have some concerns as Muslims because of our Islam, right? Allah knows this, and that's why our reward is big. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, look at this beautiful hadith reported by An-Nasa'i wa Tirmidhi wa Tabarani and others. The Prophet said, إنكم في زمان من ترك منكم عشر ما أمر به هلك. He said to the Sahaba, you live in a time, under some circumstances, in a place, if you neglect or ignore 10% of this religion, you will be punished. Halak, it means he will be damaged, he will be destroyed. If you only neglect 10% of your religion. And then he said, ثُمَّ يَأْتِ زَمَانٌ مَنْ عَمِلَ مِنْكُمْ بِعُشْرِ مَا أُمِرَ بِهِ نَجَى. Then it will come a time, if people fulfill and apply only 10% of this Islam, they will be saved. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Look at this. Because of what? Sahaba said, how ya Rasulullah? How come? He said, لأنكم تجدون على الخير أعوانا ولا يجدون. Because you have some people to support you to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you go to the masjid, everybody is righteous. The Sahaba of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. You have any question, you go to the source itself, the Nabi as-salam. There's nobody is not properly covered in his time as-salam among the Sahaba. Right? So they have some supporters. The whole environment is supporting their faith. But وَلَا يَجِدُونَ. We don't find this here. And that's why our reward is multiplied. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Last thing that I would like to mention is according to places. From place to another place. And Nabi alayhi wasallam mentioned to us that there are 3 places in the world where the salah is multiplied. The reward is multiplied. He said, this hadith is reported by Bukhari and Muslim, At-Tirmidhi, Al-Bazzar, and some other scholars, and now trying to collect all the narrations. يعني قال صلى الله عليه وسلم الصلاة في المسجد الحرام ب100,000 صلاة. To pray in al-Masjid al-Haram, 1 rak'ah is equal to 100,000 rak'at. والصلاة في مسجدي ب1,000 صلاة. And 1 salah in the Prophet's masjid is equal to 1,000 prayers. والصلاة في بيت المقدس ب500 صلاة. And 1 rak'ah in Bayt al-Maqdis, in Al-Aqsa, in Palestine, it equals to 500 prayers. Look at the reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because these places are blessed more than any other masjid in the sight of Rabbil Alameen. That's why the reward is multiplied. This is according to the ayah. Why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَلَا تَظْلِمُوا فِيهِنَّ أَنفُسَكُمْ. Do not wrong yourselves during the sacred months, and Rajab is one of them. You have a question?
My brother is asking, how about Regina Masjid?
Yeah. It's not mentioned in the hadith, of course, but inshallah, if you come to pray on time, you'll be also rewarded for this, inshallah. Especially in Jama'ah, يعني. يعني ذلك فضل الله يأتي من يشاء يعني. It's the favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He gives it to whomever He wills, يعني. Right? And subhanallah, يعني, I was told by many people who have been to Saudi Arabia, and I was born there actually, that you have some people, they live next to the haram and they don't pray. Have you ever seen this? He doesn't pray. Like, subhanallah, one of the Salaf al-Salih, I don't remember their names, he was sitting with his companion, his friend, and said to him that I actually wish I lived in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He said to him, إِنَّ نَاسًا أَدْرَكُوا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ فَكَبَّهُمُ اللَّهُ عَلَى وُجُوهِهِمْ فِي النَّارِ. He said, some people, they saw Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, they lived in his time and saw the revelation and everything, and Allah will put them in the Jahannam because they didn't believe in him alayhi salatu wasalam. So it doesn't mean that you live in the Prophet's time that you must be guided. Right? It doesn't mean that I live in Saudi Arabia or in Al-Madinah or in Palestine that I must be guided and pray all the prayers over there. No, people live there and they don't pray there. Right? So say Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen that Allah gave you the ability to come pray in the masjid. We have also another very beautiful hadith about the sacred month, but I think it's good for tonight, inshallah. Okay, inshallah, to continue next time. Regarding this sacred month, inshallah ta'ala, with the hadith of Rasulullah, because we've been talking for 20 minutes, I think that's good.